Earlier today, Aaron became the first hurricane of the 2025 season. We are tracking the latest stats on the storm and where it's headed coming up in a few minutes.
The owners of two dogs that killed an 8-year-old boy are now accused of tampering with evidence in the case.
I'm Laverne McGee in Sanford, where a road rage incident led to a deadly shooting. I have an update.
Streaming on clickorlando.com and broadcasting live, you're watching News 6 at 4 p.m.
First tonight, we now have the first named hurricane of the season. Aaron is churning with winds of 75 miles per hour, and it is expected to become a major hurricane during the weekend. We want to check in now with meteorologist Jonathan Kagas to see what is going on with this storm, specifically where it's headed. Jonathan?
Yeah, and the good news, all data continues to indicate that this is not even coming close to Florida. I'll show you the track in a second. It's going to bend far, far away from us. Latest stats, again, still the minimal hurricane at 75 miles an hour, although you see it might be trying to open up an eye here over the last few frames. And as you just heard, it's likely going to become a major hurricane over the next day or so as it moves just to the northeast of Puerto Rico over the next couple of days. If you're interested in where we stand so far this season, again, we're kind of right where we should be. On average, the first hurricane develops on August 11th to August 15th, so running about 4 days behind. And then we're going to be way ahead of where we get our first major hurricane. That typically rolls around on September 1st, but over the next 24 to 48 hours, Aaron will become a major hurricane. Over the next couple of days, it's expected to continue to gradually lift to the north and east, and then there is that turn, again, that we've been talking about since late last week. Again, we keep on talking about Aaron because, of course, it is noteworthy being the first hurricane of the season, but also want to make sure that everybody knows that this is not coming to Florida. Now, we'll have some impact on your beach days next week if you're planning on heading there. We'll talk much more about that, Lisa, coming up at about 4:17.
All right, Jonathan, thank you. Now is a great time to make sure to download our free News 6 weather app. Our hurricane app is built right in there. It will send personalized weather alerts and gives you access to our radar. All you have to do is search WKMG in your app store. Both of the owners in a dog attack that killed an 8-year-old boy are now accused of tampering with evidence. Your Volusia County community correspondent Molly Reed has the update.
Volusia deputies tell us one of the dog's owners just turned herself in this afternoon. The other was arrested last night. Now, the sheriff tells us both dog's owners were caught deleting their social media pages where they had admitted to their dogs causing problems in the neighborhood before Michael Millett was killed.
She knew when those dogs killed Michael, she knew if the cops got a hold of those messages, was grass.
Deputies say Brandy Hodel and Amanda Franco lived together, each owning one of the two dogs that killed 8-year-old Michael Millett back in January. Volusia deputies say the child was mauled by the two dogs while riding his bike in a neighborhood near DeLand.
There were other people who notified both Amanda and Brandy through social media on the public pages that their dogs had been out running at large.
The sheriff says Franco and Hodel wiped and deleted their social media accounts the day after Millett was killed. One neighbor sent detectives screenshots, though, showing a history of the women acknowledging their dogs getting loose off their property and causing problems in the neighborhood, even killing other people's animals.
There's a lot of people in the neighborhood knew what was going on, but because everybody had some kind of a connection and they didn't want to see anybody get in trouble or they didn't want to be considered a snitch, they didn't report it to law enforcement.
The sheriff says under current state law, they would have needed a history of calls and reports to law enforcement and animal services to charge the women for the actual attack.
He knew that the animal charge for Michael's death, it was never going to get above a misdemeanor second degree.
Now, earlier this week, Franco was charged with a second-degree misdemeanor for her dog's role in the attack on Millett. The Millett family did not want to go on camera and speak today, but we're told they at least feel a little bit more relieved now that both owners are facing a felony. I'm your Volusia County community correspondent Molly Reed, News 6.
Right now, investigators are looking into a shooting that killed a man at an apartment complex. This happened just before noon on Botts Landing Road in DeLand. That's not far from State Road 44 and US 1792. Investigators say they have already arrested the shooter. Our Molly Reed asked the Volusia County Sheriff about what he knows so far. Here's what he had to say.
Right now, preliminarily, what this looks like is there was an argument between ex-boyfriend and ex-girlfriend, and the current boyfriend, who may be the maintenance man there, pulls out a handgun, shoots the ex-boyfriend 3 times, once in the head, once in the chest, and once in the hand. He's pronounced dead. He's in custody. Obviously, there's a lot to go through here, a lot of interviews to be done. We believe the weapon's located inside of the apartment. So that's where we are right now on that.
As soon as we learn more details on that story, we'll keep you updated. Also, we want to tell you about a deadly shooting from a case of road rage. The man accused of shooting the other driver faced a judge this afternoon. Now, this all started with a fight between 2 drivers yesterday afternoon on State Road 46. It ended in gunfire at an apartment complex in Sanford. News 6's Laverne McGee explains what happened when the suspected shooter faced a judge.
Your bond is set at none.
Jaden Alexander Harris made his first appearance this afternoon, appearing on a murder charge. He was not given bond. Police say he shot and killed Joseph Morris Hall. It appears to be a road rage incident, and the report alleges Harris went after Hall. According to the Sanford Police Department arrest report, Jaden had several opportunities to disengage from pursuing Joseph, but maliciously continued instead, and witnesses heard them arguing. It happened on Thursday around 5:20 p.m. at View on Lake Monroe Apartments in Sanford. According to police, Harris and the other driver got into an altercation while driving in the area of State Road 46 and Magastine Avenue. The altercation ended at View on Lake Monroe, where police say Harris was shot. This woman said she's horrified, especially since it happened around after-school pickup time.
That's something very small. It shouldn't have gotten to where it did. You know, I feel like it definitely could have been prevented.
Regarding the incident, Chief Cecil Smith stated, what led to this tragic death was a minor traffic issue, followed by Harris's bad decisions. If you have any information about the shooting, Sanford Police would like you to contact them or reach out to Crime Line. In Seminole County, Laverne McGee, News 6.
Deputies spent the 3rd day of school investigating a bomb threat. Deputies with the Sumter County Sheriff's Office say they first put South Sumter Middle School on lockdown. They then evacuated the school while deputies worked to investigate the threat and clear the scene. The students were moved down the road to the Sumter County Fairgrounds while they waited for parents to pick them up. Deputies say the campus has been cleared and they found no threat. Meantime, deputies arrested a 16-year-old homeschooled boy accused of making a school shooting threat. Deputies say the teen posted a photo on Instagram of a handgun with an extended magazine in a book bag and tagged Mainland High School in Daytona Beach. That school was placed on a hold yesterday while deputies investigated. Deputies say the teen first claimed his account was hacked, but later admitted to the threat. This afternoon, President Trump greeted Russian President Vladimir Putin in Alaska. They are holding a high-stakes meeting about the war in Ukraine. News 6 anchor Matt Austin joins us now live in the newsroom with what we know so far about this meeting that just started, Matt.
It did. President Trump calls today's summit with Russian President a starting point for ending the war in Ukraine. It's the first time the two leaders have met face-to-face since 2019. Within the past hour, President Trump greeted President Putin on the tarmac in Anchorage. Before arriving, Trump warned of very severe consequences if today's summit does not go well. The president said discussions about territory will come up, but stressed it's Ukraine that will make the final decision. For Ukraine and other Western allies, the best-case scenario would be for Putin to agree to a ceasefire today. That would pave the way for more detailed talks about ending the war. Russia's air assaults on Ukraine have only grown since Trump took office, even as Putin claims to want peace. Former U.S. Ambassador to Russia John Sullivan has taken part in previous negotiations with Putin.
President Trump, he's got to guard against making concessions to Putin that are going to alienate our European allies and really do political damage to himself here in the United States.
So the president says if today's meeting goes well, a separate meeting will be set up with President Putin and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. We'll keep you updated on exactly what happens. Lisa.
All right, Matt, thank you. A heads up, some areas in Orange County will be under a boil water advisory for a few more days. It's because of a water main break that happened on Monday off south of Apopka Vineland Road near Vinnings Way Boulevard. The county initially estimated the advisory would expire today, but it saw bad lab test results. So now it's been extended through Sunday. Remember, you need to boil your water for at least 1 minute before using it for things like drinking, cooking, and washing dishes. And we posted a map of the areas impacted by this at clickorlando.com. Just search for this story. Of course, we'll let you know when that advisory has been lifted. Some terrifying video shows the moments a small plane crashed in the middle of a neighborhood. Wow. Thankfully, everyone on board is okay. We are hearing from the neighbor who jumped in to save them coming up. Plus, I'll show you the unique way a local nonprofit is raising money for a great cause. You're watching News 6 at 4 as we take a live look at our camera in Daytona Beach on this Friday. We'll be right back.
News 6 Insider is sponsored by Orange County Library System.
Finally, somebody's helping those that really need the help.
Every year, local nonprofits spend countless hours and resources trying to fundraise for their organization. But what if there were a way to hold a major fundraising event without any expenses? Now there is. It's called the Goodness Gala. I'm taking a look at how this new gala works and how it's getting results.
Oh my God, we were so excited.
Lisa Rydell could not believe what she was seeing. Out of the blue, a request to enter to win a free gala worth tens of thousands of dollars in goods and services.
I slept thinking about it, ate thinking about it, worked thinking about it.
Her nonprofit,
When you hear the beep, let's get a push.
helps people with paralysis recover. Rydell shared their story and need for new equipment, then waited 2 weeks to hear back.
And then you get that email that comes across your, again, that says, congratulations, next step's the winner of the 2025 Goodness Gala.
And she knows how hard it is to raise money. Rydell founded Next Step Orlando 15 years ago after her teenage daughter was a passenger in a car crash.
So my daughter became a quadriplegic, And I didn't understand. I was like, what do you mean she can't sit up, she can't feed herself, and all these other secondary conditions that they cannot do? And so when you leave inpatient hospital and you come back to Florida, we did traditional therapy, OT and PT, but it's just not enough for a spinal cord injury. I was like, who's going to work her whole body? She was athletic. She was a dancer before this. She's young.
We knew immediately, we're like, okay, we want to help them any way we can.
Shawn Hughes founded the Goodness Gala.
My company is Avenue Event Group, and we actually own and operate the Balcony Orlando. So the Balcony Orlando is the venue that's going to be hosting the inaugural Goodness Gala. And we've got a number of different vendors that are committed to helping.
Everything from catering to entertainment and photography, all donated by local businesses, so 100% of the proceeds can benefit the charity.
Really, I was just a frustrated mother who just wanted to help, and it's kind of one of those stories where if you build it, they will come. And they do. They come from all over the country, all over the world, actually, for this facility, because we care here. We want to help them. They can get better. They can recover. We need community support. We need better equipment, newer equipment, because it doesn't last.
So here are the details. The gala will be held on September 20th in downtown Orlando, and they're looking for people to buy tickets to attend the gala, donate silent auction items, or become a sponsor. Their goal is to raise $150,000. If you are interested in attending or helping them out, I've posted more information in this story at clickorlando.com. All right, we're going to check in now with meteorologist Jonathan Kagas. We do have some, once again, activity on the radar. I'm getting some more alerts from our News 6 weather app this afternoon. Also talking the tropics this afternoon.
Yeah, a lot going on tonight. The good thing is tropical front, we're nice and quiet, at least from a Florida perspective. We do have a couple of loud thunderstorms, and this is why we are getting in on some of those alerts, the bells and whistles on the free News 6 weather app. You can always download that. Lightning detection. It's one of the best tools on there, and of course you have interactive radar right here. A nasty thunderstorm sliding down I-4 just about. This is getting ready to move right into the Orlando metro area, impacting the Orlando International Airport as well. Getting into downtown Orlando, Winter Springs, Altamont Springs. I'll turn on the loop for you so you can see where this is coming from and where it's heading to. And again, there's that free News 6 weather app, just kind of sliding, taking a trip from the northeast to the southwest down I-4 tonight. And that's exactly where we'd be looking for those storms. You see that continues that motion all the way through the rest of the evening. There is 7 o'clock. I think most of us by that point are going to be nice and quiet. Most of the junk down toward Lakeland and Tampa. So if you are heading to the Gulf side of the state tonight, maybe heading that way for the weekend, just be mindful you're likely going to be dealing with some heavy rain still on I-4. 10 o'clock on your Friday night, everything should be nice and quiet by this point. We're just in and out of a few passing clouds to start your day tomorrow. There's lunchtime on your Saturday. Things looking pretty good. And then I think we'll get some storms going later in the afternoon. There's 4 to 5 o'clock. Scattered thunderstorms start to erupt, and then same kind of motion again, pushing things from northeast to southwest tomorrow. Some of those could pack a punch as we move into the afternoon. Here's a live look right now in downtown Orlando. We can see the dark skies again as those storms are trying to work their way in from the north and east, as we just showed you. Live look with our Light Orlando Delivering Hope Skycam tonight. Temperatures back to the lower 90s, and again, the observation from the airport already reporting that thunderstorm again, the breeze out of the south at about 5 miles an hour. We're at 91 in Orlando. That's going to change big time after that thunderstorm moves through. Sanford, good evening. We are at 84. Titusville, we're the hot spot right now. We're at 97 degrees. Leesburg, not far behind. We are at 96. Now here's a look at tomorrow.
Your forecast is sponsored by Renewal by Andersen.
We're going to get back into the mid-90s again tomorrow. Rain chances, especially for the second half of your day, back to around 60%. So just heads up if you have something planned later on in the day tomorrow. Hurricane Aaron, it's a hurricane, by the way. That happened at 11 o'clock this morning. The wind still sustained at 75 miles an hour. We'll get another update in about 20-ish minutes. The Hurricane Center's 5 o'clock advisory again. This is not coming to Florida. This should stay well to the east, 500 to 600 miles away. But what it will do is, as these distant hurricanes tend to do, it's going to crank up the surf a little bit. Watch this weekend, may see a few red flags flying, but really next week, Monday, Tuesday into Wednesday, rip current risk gets really high, and then also the waves you see building to 5 to 8 feet as we get into Tuesday. I think they'll be even higher than that as we move through Wednesday. That'll be its closest approach and closest is relative. That's going to be about 500 or 600 miles away. Now for your 7-day forecast. Again, rain chances staying up to about 60% for the next few days. High temperatures into the mid-90s, so keeping things nice and toasty as we roll back into the upcoming work week, Lisa.
All right, Jonathan, thank you. Now to a plane crashing right into a tree in the middle of a neighborhood.
The tree really helped the fall.
That would have been straight concrete. This would be a different story.
The chaotic scene in the aftermath and the new concerns about a small airport. As we take a live look at downtown Orlando from our Light Orlando Delivering Hope cam, you're watching News 6. We'll be right back.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Light Orlando, delivering hope together.
We are seeing the frantic aftermath from a small plane crashing right in the middle of a South Florida neighborhood. Now, thankfully, all 4 people on board the plane survived. Anna McAllister tells us how a tree may have saved lives.
Let's get away from here. Go, 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 go.
Police body cam video capturing the mayhem that followed this July 13th plane crash in Pembroke Pines.
Whatever in his bag in here, he's got all the 43 for the plane.
This family, a mother, a father, and their teenage daughters, seen sitting in the grass, and they were on board the plane that crashed near Southwest 14th Street and 68th Boulevard.
Who was inside the plane?
If anybody can copy that of us.
How many people were in the plane? 4?
This ring video captures the plane plunging into the tree as the family was traveling back from the Caribbean to North Perry Airport.
The tree really helped the fall.
that would have been straight concrete, this would be a different story.
Neighbors immediately jumped in to help the family to get them out, including this man on the left side of your screen with black shorts on, Eddie Crispin.
I don't want to say like it makes me feel like very heroic and anything like that. I just feel like I was put in a position where I was supposed to be at the right place at the right time, and I wish and feel like anybody would do the same thing.
Crispin was one of 4 Good Samaritans honored last week at a Pembroke Pines Commission meeting for their heroism. This crash is one of dozens that have happened either going to or coming from the North Perry Airport in the last 5 years, sparking outrage and heightened concerns from residents and officials.
The Pembroke Pines Commission is calling on Broward County to conduct a safety survey of the airport. Well, one community wants to keep you up to date on what's happening in their neighborhood with a podcast. We went to check it out. Plus, welcome back. We are following several top stories right now. New charges in the dog attack death of an 8-year-old DeLand boy. The 2 women who own the dogs are now charged with tampering with evidence. Investigators say after the attack, they deleted social media account posts that showed a history of the women acknowledging that their dogs get loose and have even killed other people's animals. Investigators are looking into a shooting at an apartment complex that left a man dead. This happened just before noon on Botts Landing Road in DeLand. Investigators say they have already arrested the shooter. A road rage incident in Sanford turned deadly yesterday afternoon at the View on Lake Monroe Apartments. Police say Jaden Harris shot and killed Joseph Hall. Harris is now charged with first-degree murder and is being held without bond. Now to a warning on the playground. Investigators say kids were by themselves when a man started performing lewd acts. Police say the kids were brave enough to call for help. Your Brevard County community correspondent James Sparvero shares what you need to know.
I got a 43 in progress at the park just south of Sarno and Croton, pants down, touching himself. I got an 11-year-old caller crying on the phone.
An emotionally distraught 11-year-old here at this playground Wednesday calling 911 when Melbourne police say 2 children saw Jose Caraballo doing what the operator described. Now police are thanking those kids for stepping up, being brave, and reporting it. Just how courageous would you say these kids were?
I'd say the kids were amazing. To one, identify that something like this existed and that was wrong, and to, out of fear for their own safety, separate themselves enough to be able to still maintain, a visual of what was going on and to call it in.
And this isn't the first time someone has called Caraballo in. 8 years ago, he was arrested for an exposure allegation at the children's playground at Jimmy Moore Park. In that case, police say he took a plea bargain and he didn't have to register as a sex offender.
Good afternoon, your full name, please.
Josie Louis O'Neill Caraballo.
Caraballo's new arrest report reads he didn't want to go to jail again. He told police, "Please, just trespass me. I will never come back to this park." And are there concerns there could be previous victims?
We encourage anybody to call us if there was a situation where someone observed this in the past, heaven forbid there was a physical contact at some point, the person just didn't feel comfortable coming forward or courageous enough to come forward.
If he can post his $32,000 bond, a judge ordered Caraballo can't come back to this playground, and he also can't have any contact with the kids. In Melbourne, Brevard County, I'm your community correspondent, James Sparvero, News 6.
Tonight, deputies are searching for the gun used to kill a man at a Davenport hotel. This happened on Tuesday night at the Home Suites on US 27, just north of I-4. The sheriff's office says deputies responded to a disturbance earlier that evening, but no charges were filed. Less than an hour later, they responded to the shooting. Witnesses saw the suspect run and get into a car that was later found at a McDonald's. Authorities believe the passenger, Angel Gonzalez Morales, is the shooter. In a press conference this morning, Sheriff Grady Judd said the victim had a violent past.
We found out that our victim had 26 previous criminal charges. He had a violent history. But I want to underscore that is absolutely, unequivocally no reason for him to be shot.
Gonzalez Morales faces second-degree murder charges. Hip-hop artist Shawn Kingston will spend the next 3.5 years in prison for a $1 million fraud scheme. A judge handed down his sentence this afternoon. Kingston and his mother were arrested in May of 2024 after a SWAT raid at his Fort Lauderdale mansion. Court records show he used social media to arrange purchases of luxury items, promising to promote sellers online. But when it was time to pay, Kingston and his mother sent fake wire receipts. Kingston's mom, Janice Turner, is already spending 5 years in prison. Kingston rose to fame at 17 with his 2007 hit, Beautiful Girls. Now to controversy in the classroom. This week, the Orange County School Board voted to continue observing LGBTQ+ History and Awareness Month, but that decision was not without some intense debate. News 6's Angie Casada explains.
Some intense emotions on both sides when it comes to this. One school board member looking to remove the month off of the district's list of officially recognized celebrations, but at the end, the vote to keep it in place was 6-2.
We're going to do whatever we can to improve awareness.
This proclamation has been recognized in OCPS since 2019. Board member Alicia Farrett pushed to remove it, calling it redundant, since the district also recognizes Pride Month in June and Pulse Remembrance Day.
Orange County Public Schools is seeing a huge decline in enrollment, and many of the families that I've spoken to who are leaving are doing so because the school is continuing to show that their focus is not on all the children and making sure that education is a priority. Whether the district wants to believe it or not, I have parents who come out and tell me that this is happening, but they're afraid to say anything because of the retaliation.
But other parents and educators urge the board to keep the proclamation, including Judy Hayes, a local advocate whose son spoke during the meeting.
On a deeper level, these are kids who are really disproportionately affected by mental health issues, and I feel like anything that we can do to help those kids feel comfortable, feel included, not singled out.
An hour of debate, the board voted to keep the observance next month, with each campus deciding how it will mark the month. This marks the second time in 2 years an effort to remove the proclamation has failed. It's one of dozens of annual observances by the district. Of course, we have a full list of that over on clickorlando.com. Reporting in Orlando, Angie Casada, News 6.
Staying in Orange County, Winter Garden leaders are now back to the drawing board when it comes to more funding for the fire department. Last night, they scrapped a fire fee proposal that would have cost some homeowners more than $500. News 6's Darrell Baker was there and explains what changed.
We're canceling the fire assessment fee, period. That's not a discussion.
Residents held nothing back in the Winter Garden Council chambers Thursday evening.
Don't do that again, okay? 90 days.
As city leaders voted to cancel a controversial annual fire fee assessment.
I mean, I certainly want the police to come when I call for the police. I want the fire department to come. But the rates just didn't seem to be transparent, and they didn't seem to be reasonable to me.
The proposed annual fee would have started at $330 for homes smaller than 1,000 square feet and exceed $500 for homes over 3,500 square feet. Martin Jacoby says it would have cost him around $518.
If the city manager knew this and he knew these monies were coming and he wasn't for sure what his budget was going to be, then why did you jump out and go and do that and make everybody upset?
Now, this comes after City Manager John Williams recommended the city not to hold this public hearing for the fee. In a letter to News 6, he stated staff members reviewed next year's budget and found around $4 million in cuts.
When we passed the initial assessment resolution, there were a lot of unknowns at that point in time. We hadn't received a certification of taxable values. We hadn't started really seeing any of the revenue estimates coming from the states.
Williams says that they have a $6 to $8 million shortage due in part to rising costs of staff and equipment. To close the gap, he closed his letter by saying city staff will continue to evaluate the budget to ensure operational efficiency and fiscal responsibility. Any additional funds needs will be considered when determining the final tax millage rate.
When you hear that, well, that indicates to me that maybe they are going to come back and do this.
Here in Winter Garden, Darrell Baker, News 6.
And Winter Garden is just the latest local community struggling with fire fees. Sanford, Kissimmee, Ocoee, Mount Dora, and Brevard County have all debated, added, or bumped up their fire fees in the past few months. Well, many of us stay connected on what's going on in our neighborhood through Facebook community groups or apps like Nextdoor. But in one city, they are keeping people up to date with a podcast. Your Castleberry community correspondent Alex Cook went to check it out.
I try to report on the issues important to people in Castleberry, but I'm not the only one. I'm here in the community room of the Castleberry Police Department with the crew of the What's Up Castleberry podcast, which shares the people, stories, and ideas that are important to this city.
What's up, Castleberry? Welcome to episode 178.
Why did the photojournalist go broke?
Why?
Every episode begins with a Dad Joke of the Week contest.
They kept working for exposure.
Okay, that's 3.5.
Alex is laughing. But soon the conversations turn serious.
So you've been at Seminole County Emergency Management for 13 years.
Because 5 years ago, Andy Searles realized people were missing out on all his city has to offer.
We asked the question, what would it be like if we could shine the spotlight on some of the great things being done by great people in our city?
Nearly 180 interviews later, they've spoken to local business owners, community leaders, artists, educators, and public officials.
Start preparedness now. Don't wait for the storm to start brewing or the disaster to start happening.
Like Stephen Lerner with Seminole County Emergency Management, preparing listeners for hurricane season. Their most recent guest, their Castleberry community correspondent.
I think it's cool that I get to, when there's not bad stuff, I get to actually get to know people, tell the real stories, like you guys are doing.
We talked about the power of a community sharing each other's stories.
There have been some stories we've covered over the years that have really touched people's heart and spurred people to action.
When someone at home has that emotional connection by seeing what someone's going through and they're moved to help, that's the power of journalism.
And the hope that sharing those stories can make a difference.
Those are connections that are starting to make a difference and spurring people to action and encouraging them to make a contribution to our shared community life.
For more information, please visit us at whatsupcastleberry.com. And until next time, have a great week. Bye!
And Alex is joining us now on set. I love that you featured that because I bet there are a lot of people who live in Castleberry who don't even know that that podcast even really exists. And that's a great resource if you're in the car or working out to stay up to date in your neighborhood.
Yeah, and it's great that as a community correspondent, I got to learn about the podcast myself because I never would have known. I was out there at an improv comedy show and they told me about it and invited me on. So being out there makes these connections happen.
Very cool. Did you give them any dad jokes?
No, but I did appreciate the photojournalist pay dad
That was
joke
good.
that was in there.
Very timely on their part. Well, great job. Well, do you have a story for one of our community correspondents? Let us know. Just head to the News 6 app or clickorlando.com, click Contact Us, and let us know how we can help. A new subject is coming to Florida schools because of a new state law. What you can expect in the classroom, that's coming up. Also, if you need some ideas for the weekend, we have you covered with your 6 things to do. Jonathan.
And we are tracking a couple of rock and thunderstorms moving through parts of Orange County, then also Osceola County, closer to Kenansville tonight. We're going to talk about where they're headed and a look at your weekend forecast coming up at about 4:47.
And before we head to break, we have an all-new primetime schedule on News 6 Plus to tell you about. We have a new take on the day's news on News 6 tonight. That's at 9. Then you can go in-depth as we track the tropics and answer your weather questions at 9:30. Then watch the late news an hour earlier. It's all tonight on News 6 Plus. And be sure to download our streaming app for free. All you have to do is search WKMG in your smart TV's app store. It's also available on Roku, Apple TV, and Fire TV.
I'm meteorologist Michelle Morgan here at the Osceola Heritage Park. Now, the event center, it's empty right now. It will be a different scene on Saturday. The Magic and Mythic Festival, a Renaissance festival, kicks off at 11. It is going to be so much fun and it'll be indoors. You may even run into this guy. I spoke to the event organizers about what you can expect.
It's a massive indoor Renaissance festival. We have over 200 exhibitors, live entertainment.
Yep, and you're gonna have a giant dragon with meet and greets. You'll have fairies that you can have bubble time with. There'll be belly dancers.
Yep, musicians, mermaids.
Delicious food. It is family friendly. You can just be a spectator and have fun.
Another exciting event will take place at Lou Gardens in celebration of National Honeybee Day from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Learn about honeybees from a master beekeeper. Honey and bee-related items will be available for purchase. Pack sunscreen and water for bonsai and botanicals at the Brevard Zoo. Enjoy foliage, fun, and hands-on activities with local experts. Free with zoo admission this weekend from 10 a.m. through 3. Check out the Margarita Festival with over 20 flavors, live music, tequila tastings, street food, and more. It all starts around noon this Saturday. The National Reptile Breeders Expo also will be happening all this weekend at the Ocean Center in Daytona Beach. The event starts at 10 a.m. and it's $20 per person, cash only. Children under 6 get in free. Put on your best costume and join the fun at Geek Fest. Over 60 vendors, live action role playing, and food trucks. This is a free event held at the Ocala Downtown Market from noon to 4 p.m. Do you have a fun event happening next weekend? Let me know. I'm already getting so many fun events sent my way, so keep them coming. You can head over to our new 6 app or clickorlando.com. Just click Contact Us.
Another thing to do this weekend, magical dining. Today is the first day for it. Participating restaurants in Orlando will offer a 3-course dinner menu. And depending on the restaurant you choose, your dinner will either be $40 or $60 per person before tax. Now, $1 from every $40 meal and $2 from every $60 meal benefits a charity. This year, that charity is the Reed Charitable Foundation, which helps local kids overcome dyslexia. Now, this is the 20th year for the event. It runs until September 30th. It is such a great thing that happens in our community. Great opportunity to try new places, escape the weather that's outside, do something good for the community.
All of the above.
Right? Meteorologist Jonathan Kagas joining us now. You are tracking a lot on the radar tonight.
Yeah, a couple of beefy thunderstorms as well. Nothing severe. There's nothing damaging out there, but they are loud tonight. We'll start closer to the Orlando metro area. This is right over the Orlando International Airport. If you're waiting for somebody to maybe pick up off the airplane over the next 20 to 30 minutes, it's going to take a while. There's lightning over the runways here and over the airport. We have this drifting in from the northeast to the southwest tonight. We'll put the tracker on this, the loop for the last 15 minutes, and you're seeing this pretty much take a drive down I-4 tonight. You can track these storms alongside me and get that free lightning detection by downloading the free News 6 weather app. Again, it comes in handy for afternoons like these, and we pretty much deal with that on a daily basis through the summer. We'll take you further down the Florida Turnpike into Osceola County, closer to Kenansville tonight. These are starting to push away from us in Kenansville, but a whole lot of lightning as it works its way into rural Osceola County. So again, some big thunderstorms out there tonight. Again, nothing damaging, but certainly packing a punch with the very, very heavy rain and a lot of lightning. Again, just in the box over my shoulder there, we're picking up about 230 some lightning strikes just in the last 10 minutes, really between these two cells, and a couple hanging out closer to Tampa tonight. As we watch over the next couple of hours, there's 4 to 5 o'clock, and I think Future Radar doing a nice job taking these storms from Orlando down the Turnpike, pretty much right down I-4 and exiting through most of Central Florida. By the time we get to 7 to 8 o'clock, a few may try to hold on towards 8, 9, but for the most part, I think we're going to be dry this evening. 8, 9 o'clock on your Saturday morning, we're looking pretty good. And then I think later in the afternoon, that's when we get things going and really are along I-4 and then pretty much taking that same motion again, running right down the interstate there. Closer to Tampa, we will keep those thunderstorms rocking and rolling. Here's a live look outside downtown Orlando as we're watching those storms again just outside of the Orlando metro area. That's a live look with our Light Orlando delivering Hope Sky Cam tonight. Air temperature is in the lower 80s. A little gusty at the airport because of that thunderstorm overhead out of the northeast, sustained at about 25 miles an hour. So again, that might cause you some delays. Now here's a look at your forecast.
Your forecast is sponsored by Ramjack.
And that's going to be delays getting family or friends off the plane if you're waiting for them at MCO. That's a common occurrence in the evening for sure. 60% shot for storms tomorrow. Same deal on Sunday. Temperatures back to the mid to upper 90s tomorrow. It'll go down a little bit, back to 94 degrees. Here's the latest on Aaron. 75-mile-per-hour hurricane right now, showing some signs of strengthening. It still might take its time a little bit, and then it's set to kind of explode into this giant hurricane over the next few days that stays away from most landmass, certainly staying 500 to 600 miles off of the Florida coast. Again, this is making a big turn, but you see here, expected by early next week to be 145 Category 4 hurricane. Again, that is the latest update from the National Hurricane Center, 5 o'clock advisory coming out early. Good news is, behind that, no new development expected, although I do suspect a couple of those waves off of Africa, at least one of those, are probably going to get highlighted in the next day or two. Temperatures over the next 7 days into the mid-90s. Rain chances, Lisa, holding at 60% through Monday.
Jonathan, thank you. Soon, students will be learning more about the history of communism in the classroom. We'll tell you all about the new subject coming to Florida schools. That's next.
Coming up on Monday, fixing flooding in one part of Volusia County. What leaders have planned for 2 busy roads and the big vote to get the project underway.
Plus, the latest on Aaron and the impacts we could feel along our coast. We'll see you Monday for News 6 Mornings starting at 6.
The first week of school may be wrapping up, but starting next year, students can expect to see a new subject in the classroom. A law passed last year will require all grades in public schools to teach the history of communism. The coursework involves instruction on communist movements in places like Russia, China, Cuba, and even the United States. According to the law's text, the subject is slated to be taught as part of a school's social studies or language arts curriculum. Tomorrow is National Roller Coaster Day, and one local theme park is celebrating with a challenge. Would you do this? SeaWorld is challenging thrill seekers to ride all 8 of its coasters in one day. The first 2,000 guests will get a special lanyard to track the rides. If you complete the challenge, you get a limited edition poster and bragging rights, of course. Meantime, this weekend also marks your last chance to ride the Rip Ride Rocket roller coaster at Universal before it closes. Documents show the theme park wants to tear it down and replace it with something with virtually the same footprint. The coaster first opened back in 2009. It closes on Monday. You can get the latest theme park news sent right to your email. Sign up for the In the Loop Theme Park Scoops newsletter at clickorlando.com/newsletters. News 6 at 5 is up next. Anchor Matt Austin is in the newsroom with what's ahead, Matt.
Well, we have some new information into the mysterious death of a teen who was missing for more than a week. You might remember the search for Giovanni Pelletier. Well, next, the new details as investigators try to determine how he died. Plus,
coming up, Apopka High School placed on a secure hold Friday morning due to police activity outside. What we're learning about the role ICE may have played in all of this.
and your forecast is only minutes away. You can see some dark clouds out there and a little sprinkle on the camera lens. Don't forget, you can stream all of our newscasts and live cameras like this cloudy look at downtown Orlando for free anytime on News 6 Plus. School temporarily stopped in Apopka after 5 people are arrested during a traffic stop. What's next in the investigation as the suspects get turned over to ICE?
I'm Catherine Silver in Bushnell with a story of kindness. How one of our News 6 viewers got a new roof just in time for hurricane season.
It seems like every time I reached out to you guys, something got moving. I have a lot to be thankful because of Channel 6.
The program and the people that made it possible.
Plus, the dog owners connected to the death of a young boy in DeLand facing new charges. The evidence investigators say they tried to get rid of. You're watching News 6 at 5. We begin tonight in Sanford, where a case of road rage turned deadly.
One of the people involved has died after being shot in front of a Sanford apartment complex. News 6's Laverne McGee has the latest on this investigation.
Your bond is set at 9.
Jaden Alexander Harris made his first appearance this afternoon, appearing on a murder charge. He was not given bond. Police say he shot and killed Joseph Morris Hall. It appears to be a road rage incident, and the report alleges Harris went after Hall. According to the Sanford Police Department arrest report, Jaden had several opportunities to disengage from pursuing Joseph, but maliciously continued instead, and witnesses heard them arguing. It happened on Thursday around 5:20 p.m. at View on Lake Monroe Apartments in Sanford. According to police, Harris and the other driver got into an altercation while driving in the area of State Road 46 and Magastine Avenue. The altercation ended at View on Lake Monroe, where police say Harris was shot. This woman said she's horrified, especially since it happened around after-school pickup time.
That's something very small. It shouldn't have gotten to where it did. You know, I feel like it definitely could have been prevented.
Regarding the incident, Chief Cecil Smith stated, what led to this tragic death was a minor traffic issue, followed by Harris's bad decisions. If you have any information about the shooting, Sanford Police would like you to contact them or reach out to Crime Line. In Seminole County, Laverne McGee, News 6.
Well, 5 people are in ICE custody tonight, detained from a traffic stop right outside Apopka High School. This happened as students were arriving this morning, and it caused the school to be put on a secure hold. News 6's Mike Valenti looked into what happened.
We're still trying to figure out if the 5 people in ICE custody have been charged with any underlying crimes. But state authorities tell us that this all stemmed from a traffic stop near Apopka High School. Videos taken by a parent of a high school student give us a glimpse into the confusion outside the school Friday morning. Apopka High placed on a secure hold due to what the district called unrelated law enforcement activity near the campus. No one allowed in or out of the school at the time. We later learned from Florida Highway Patrol that a trooper had pulled over a vehicle for running a stop sign. FHP says the driver came to a stop, but 4 passengers inside ran out. Apopka police helped in chasing them down, and FHP says all 5 people were turned over to ICE/Border Patrol.
The vehicle allegedly ran a stop sign. We don't hear what criminal charges, if any of these individuals were facing, other than the fact that they're allegedly now in ICE custody. And because of this, an entire school's operations came to a halt.
Philip Arroyo is a criminal defense attorney and specializes in immigration law. He's critical of what's called the 287G agreement that state and local law enforcement agencies are mandated to sign. The agreement with ICE deputizes those agencies like FHP to perform ICE functions.
We believe that the laws that have been passed in regards to this, of having state actors carry out federal functions, is unconstitutional, but that's something that the appellate courts are going to have to handle. But as of now, obviously FHP has their hands tied. They have to follow the law, whether it's unconstitutional or not.
After FHP told us the 5 people in the vehicle were turned over to ICE/Border Patrol, we reached out to Customs and Border Protection. A spokesperson with that agency said this was an ICE matter. We have yet to hear back from ICE, and it's not clear where those 5 people are being held at this moment. Reporting in Apopka, Mike Valenti, News 6.
Well, we just got a new update on Hurricane Aaron.
Yeah, it's growing, but won't be a problem for us. Meteorologist Jonathan Kegas is tracking the storm.
Yeah, we had the 5 p.m. advisory, and I just want to continue to show you this because of the bend that is continuing to look extremely likely. We've been talking about that since last week. I know there's still a lot online that says, oh, it's shifting west. It's not, I promise you that. Again, we have the latest data, the latest hurricane forecast from the National Hurricane Center, and you see the gradual turn here. There's the west-northwest movement we started to see that last night. We showed you that right at the top of 11 o'clock. And then there's the big curve away, taking that escape route that we've been highlighting for the last couple of days in between the Bermuda high and then the high pressure that's going to be baking us in terms of the heat this weekend. It is going to be quite strong. So you're going to see a very formidable hurricane out in the middle of the water there. But for us, it's just going to make some big waves. We'll talk much more about that part of the forecast coming up at about 5:17, guys.
Jonathan, thank you. Tonight, a second woman is now facing charges in a dog attack that killed an 8-year-old DeLand boy. Deputies say Michael Millett was killed by 2 dogs who got loose from their property back in January. Earlier this week, the Volusia Sheriff's Office announced one owner would be charged with a misdemeanor in the actual attack. Now, both owners are being charged with tampering with evidence. News 6's Volusia County community correspondent Molly Reed is at the jail with the latest.
Volusia deputies tell us one of the dog's owners just turned herself in this afternoon. The other was arrested last night. Now, the sheriff tells us both dogs owners were caught deleting their social media pages where they had admitted to their dogs causing problems in the neighborhood before Michael Millett was killed.
She knew when those dogs killed Michael, she knew if the cops got a hold of those messages, was grass.
Deputies say Brandy Hodel and Amanda Franco lived together, each owning one of the 2 dogs that killed 8-year-old Michael Millett back in January. Volusia deputies say the child was mauled by the 2 dogs while riding his bike in a neighborhood near DeLand.
There were other people who notified both Amanda and Brandy through social media on the public pages that their dogs had been out running at large.
The sheriff says Franco and Hodel wiped and deleted their social media accounts the day after Millett was killed. One neighbor sent detectives screenshots, though, showing a history of the women acknowledging their dogs getting loose off their property and causing problems in the neighborhood, even killing other people's animals.
There's a lot of people in the neighborhood knew what was going on, but because everybody had some kind of a connection and they didn't want to see anybody get in trouble or they didn't want to be considered a snitch, they didn't report it to law enforcement.
The sheriff says under current state law, they would have needed a history of calls and reports to law enforcement and animal services to charge the women for the actual attack.
He knew that the animal charge for Michael's death, it was never going to get above a misdemeanor second degree.
Now, earlier this week, Franco was charged with a second-degree misdemeanor for her dog's role in the attack on Millett. The Millett family did not want to go on camera and speak today, but we're told they at least feel a little bit more relieved now that both owners are facing a felony. I'm your Volusia County community correspondent Molly Reed, News 6.
Also in Volusia County, investigators looking into a shooting that killed a man at an apartment complex in DeLand. This happened just before noon on Botts Landing Road. It's near State Road 44 and US 1792. Sheriff Mike Chitwood says the shooter has been arrested, but not much else. Your Volusia County community correspondent Molly Reed is asking questions. We'll bring you the updates as we get them.
Now to a sad update out of Manatee County, where the sheriff's office confirms the decomposed body found last week is that of missing 18-year-old Giovanni Pelletier. The body was found last Friday, just half a mile from where his backpack and phone were left behind. The autopsy results show that so far there are no signs of foul play, but the cause of his death is still under investigation. Authorities say Pelletier disappeared while traveling to visit family in Brevard County. He was with 3 people, including 2 cousins he had never met, who say he got out of the car and they drove on without him. His family says the situation does not make sense, and they've started a petition asking the FBI to investigate. They also have criticized multiple sheriff's offices for their handling of the search.
Still to come, the cost of school lunches.
Noticeably higher this school year. Next at 5, what economists say is causing parents to spend more money when they send their kids off to school with bagged lunches.
Plus, one man's journey for a roof is complete, but it wasn't easy. The special program that helped make it happen.
Today's Port Canaveral Cam is sponsored by Launch Credit Union.
With our first hurricane of the year churning in the Atlantic and the height of hurricane season getting closer, we're taking a closer look at one of Florida's most popular programs designed to help families harden their homes. We told you when the portal for the My Safe Florida Home program opened 2 weeks ago, there was more than $300 million in funding available for more than 30,000 people and so many more who desperately need help. Our own Catherine Silver is following one success story more than a year in the making.
That's Mom's tree. It was an acorn that had sprouted.
Eldridge Mack's mother bought this house in Bushnell that's now his. A generational investment, a symbol of stability.
So they replaced all the siding?
Yes.
He couldn't wait to show us his brand new roof.
Well, I'm glad we could meet in person finally.
Thank you. Yes, so am I.
You see, we first introduced you to Mack last year when he applied for a grant through the My Safe Florida Home program. And when we followed up again in June.
I have 13 estimates, which have yet to get done.
He had run into the same problem as so many struggling homeowners. You submit paperwork, you wait, you try to find someone to do the work without money to put down.
Once they found out about the My Safe Florida Home program, that they would have to wait on their money, they all just disappeared.
What changed?
Your interview, it was the next day. I got a call.
In parallel to that, the team at MySafe had reached out to us.
Ed Baldwin's company, Profile Gorilla, reached out.
We do a lot of support for the insurance industry and homeowners, just ensuring that the contractors that they want to use are licensed, insured.
And they connected Mack with a roofing company.
And he was just telling me everything he was going through. So I just reached out to the owner, Mr. Curtis at RIG, and I said, hey, here's a story. How do you feel like, extending some generosity to Mr. Mack?
RIG Roofing wasn't just willing to do the work. They were willing to do it at the cost of the $10,000 grant.
A roof that might have cost, $8,000 10 years ago, very likely it's $16,000 today. Reached out to the owner again. He's like, you know what, Gary? We can take that money off.
What about him resonated?
Hearing a story about how he was battling cancer and going through a low point in his life.
You see, when we spoke to Mack earlier this summer, he wasn't just hoping for help. He was also healing from surgery.
My right lung was removed. I had something called non-small cell.
It sounds like a sky was really falling for you at one point, and all of a sudden it seems like the stars aligned.
Every time I reached out to you guys, something got moving.
You could call it timing, call it luck.
I mean, it's just the dominoes fell in place.
Call it kindness.
It was a blessing. I get a little emotional, but to know that there are honest, good people out there.
This means a lot to you.
Yes.
It's your family.
Yes.
It's your legacy.
Yes.
It's your home.
It's my home.
In Bushnell.
I'm very thankful.
Catherine Silver, News 6.
A nice looking place too. Well, that bag lunch you're sending to school with your kid is going to start costing you more. It's rising more than the rate of inflation. Research from Deloitte looked in 4 different lunch options, assuming one meal would be bought at school for the week there. It found the average daily cost of a brown bag lunch is currently $6.15. It's about 3% more than the start of the 2024 school year. A classic lunch, I'm talking PB&J, the sandwich there, milk, saw an even steeper price hike. While less than $5, it'll still run you 6% more than last year due to the higher cost of stuff like jelly, apples, and single-serve milk cartons.
When asked what the reasonable cost for a packed lunch should be, $4.50 was the median answer from the parents surveyed, and all of the options in this study cost more than that.
So 42% of parents surveyed said their kids bring lunch from home, even if cafeteria food is cheaper or sometimes free, mostly because of the quality and variety, they say.
Well, my kids take a packed lunch, and nothing grinds my gears more than when they bring their lunchbox home, and it's still full of everything we packed for them.
It starts to get a little funky by the end of the day, that's for sure. All right, meteorologist Jonathan Kagas, he always eats his packed lunch.
Do I?
I don't know. I'm guessing. You're just that kind of guy.
I mean, if there's an apple in it, of course, you gotta keep up with the fruits and veggies out there. Hey, we have some thunderstorms in the mix. There's not too widespread tonight. We talked about this yesterday, but where we have them, there's a ton of lightning tonight hanging around the Orlando metro area, St. Cloud, around Lake Tahoe. Look at all of these strikes right now. This is pretty much taking up a lot of the Florida turnpikes. If you're trying to drive from Altamont Springs, maybe down to Kenansville, or heading down to southeast Florida for the weekend, again, just be mindful that we have a lot of heavy stuff right now, right over St. Cloud, pushing in over the Florida Turnpike. This is heading towards us in the next 15 to 20 minutes in Poinciana. If you look just to your east, the skies are going to be really dark. Be careful, though. We do have a lot of lightning strikes out ahead of that thunderstorm. The good news is tonight, these are moving. These are going to be out of here quick, and these are going to continue to push from the northeast to the southwest, and I think leave most of central Florida alone for the rest of the evening. I think Future Radar doing a nice job kind of taking that right on out of here. I think that's exactly what's going to happen. 6, 7 o'clock for your Saturday morning. Very nice start. A little muggy out there, but then the heat comes back to us again tomorrow. It's another one of those days like today where we do have the heat a couple of notches above where we should be for this time of the year. There's 1 o'clock on your Saturday afternoon. We'll start to pop a couple of downpours, and then we'll increase that coverage again. And you see that same kind of motion as what we have out there today, right from the northeast through the southwest, pretty much taking a trip right down I-4 over the next couple of days, and that was through Saturday. Gorgeous out there on the port, though. Here's a live look with our Launch Credit Union camera at Port Canaveral, of course, in Brevard County. We're hanging around 90 degrees right now. The breeze at about 11 miles an hour. Feeling pretty nice, though, when you get into that breeze. We're at 88 New Smyrna. We talked about the temperatures in the 90s would cool themselves big time because of that storm around Orlando, and there we go. We're at 82 degrees in Orlando. Kissimmee, good evening. We're at 91. Still very warm in Claremont. We're back to 96 degrees. Now here's a look at your forecast.
Your forecast is sponsored by Payne Law.
Tomorrow, temperatures staying into the mid-90s. Rain chances going up to 60%, especially for the second half of your afternoon. So morning plans looking pretty good. It is going to be hot again. That heat index, not as bad as it was a couple of weeks ago where we had that really, really nasty stuff. We're going to be into that likely heat advisory threshold again. So back to that 105 to 110 ballpark. So you know the drill by this time of the year. Certainly if you live in Florida for a long time, just get out there, maybe get some yard work done early. That's my plan for tomorrow as well. Also continuing to watch Aaron out there. Again, this is nothing for Florida. I'm going to keep on showing you the latest on this as it bends away as over the next couple of days from Florida. It will have an impact on the beaches. It is going to have some big surf with this as it slides on through, but a 75-mile-per-hour hurricane at this hour expected to become a major one offshore, about 500 or 600 miles away from Florida. Again, this is nothing to worry about. The good news is no new development expected behind Aaron. Of course, you can clearly see where that is, but again, nothing to be expected. A couple of waves off of Africa likely going to be highlighted by the Hurricane Center over the coming days. We'll keep you posted. 60% shot for storms through the weekend, highs in the mid-90s, guys.
Jonathan, thank you. Millions of Americans are impacted by depression.
Well, there's a unique new FDA-approved way to treat it. Up next, how magnetic waves are being used at one clinic in Kissimmee. It's already leading to results for some patients.
Your weekend evening traffic alert. You'll see those lane closures along the coast, north and southbound along I-95 just south of US 192, down here in the Melbourne area. So just be careful. Not a complete shutdown overnight, but you're going to see it. Same thing out here in the Orlando attraction area, of course, overnight. So we're talking about starting around 9 o'clock at night and then finishing up about 5 o'clock in the morning, I-4 east and westbound. We will see an express lane shutdown, but no main line shutdown, but we will see the lane closures and entrance ramp intermediately out here being shut down. I'm Trooper Steve with your News 6 traffic alert. Drive safely. I'll see you Monday morning.
I'm here at Mindful Behavioral Healthcare in Kissimmee, where they offer a unique treatment for depression. It's called transcranial magnetic stimulation, TMS for short. Now what it is a patient sits here in a chair like this one, and magnetic waves stimulate the part of their brain associated with depression. I spoke to one person who said it's changed his life.
Jose Barrientos says he tried everything to cure his depression, from therapy to multiple medications.
I felt like a failure, right? Walking in, I'm like, damn, you took all these medicine, nothing's working, this is just another thing that's not gonna work.
But after just one treatment, Jose felt better right away.
It was like the sludge was just wiped right off. I felt lighter. The colors were so vibrant.
The effects are phenomenal.
Dr. Vivian Charneco, the founder and medical director of Mindful Behavioral Healthcare.
Patients have much more improvement with this treatment than the traditional medication and psychotherapy.
In fact, Dr. Charneco says 83% of TMS patients say their depression symptoms improved, and 67% say the symptoms stay gone.
Really, you can't get any better than that.
So how does this FDA-approved treatment for depression work? Dr. Charneco says first they map the patient's brain, then a coil magnet about the size of a quarter is placed against their head.
Magnets emit magnetic impulses to the brain and actually stimulates the areas of the brain that are associated with depression.
Jose says he's thankful for the peace the treatment brought him and his family.
Being very present with my family, you know, with my wife, with my son Liam, and just everything was just lining up. Like, I am meant to be here.
In Kissimmee, Alex Cook, News 6.
Those are some big numbers.
Pretty amazing. 67% say it goes away. Wow. Well, much more coming up on News 6 at 5.
Including a look at the tropics. Meteorologist Jonathan Kagas will go in depth on Hurricane Erin, the storm that is now working its way through the Atlantic.
Plus, a historic summit in Alaska, the negotiations to end the war in Ukraine.
As we take a live look at Daytona Beach, you're watching News 6. Keep it here. We'll be right back. Glad you're with us. I'm Lisa Bell.
I'm Matt Austin. You're watching News 6 at 5. We're following several top stories for you right now.
No bond for the man accused in a deadly road rage shooting in Sanford. This happened last night in front of the View on Lake Monroe Apartments. Police say Jaden Harris shot and killed Joseph Hall. Harris is charged with first-degree murder.
An ICE-related traffic stop caused a temporary hold at Apopka High School this morning. Apopka police say 5 people were taken into custody after FHP and Border Patrol stopped the car near the school. 4 people ran after that vehicle was pulled over for running a stop sign. All 5 were detained and turned over to ICE. New charges in the dog attack death of an 8-year-old DeLand boy. The 2 women who own the dogs are now charged with tampering with evidence. Investigators say after the attack, they deleted social media account posts that showed a history of the women acknowledging their dogs get loose and have even killed other people's animals.
We are following some breaking news right now. Police are investigating an accidental shooting at a gun range in Castleberry. The range is called Shoot Straight. It's on 1792. The man was taken to the hospital. Police tell us his injuries are not life-threatening.
Right now in Davenport, deputies are searching for a weapon they say was used to shoot and kill a 24-year-old in Davenport. News 6's Justin Warmoth has details on the investigation.
Polk County deputies say a murder suspect is off the streets tonight, nearly 48 hours after he's accused of fatally shooting someone at an extended stay motel. Investigators arrested 29-year-old Angel Gonzalez Morales last night. The shooting happened Tuesday just before 10 p.m. outside the home suites near I-4 and US 27, that's in Davenport. Polk County Sheriff Grady Judd said that the victim, 24-year-old Elijah Johnson, was shot twice on the second floor, ran down the stairs, and collapsed in front of the building. Gonzalez Morales then took off from the scene and was on the run for the next 48 hours. Now, it's unclear what led to the shooting, but the sheriff said the 2 knew each other. He also added that the victim had a long criminal history, 26 previous charges against him.
He had a violent history. But I want to underscore that is absolutely, unequivocally no reason for him to be shot on this particular occasion. We see absolutely no reason for that at all.
Now, deputies found 16 grams of fentanyl in the suspect's pocket when he was arrested, so he is also facing a felony charge of trafficking fentanyl.
Fentanyl that he called baking soda for his personal use. Well, you can call fentanyl anything you want to. We call it fentanyl, you can call it baking soda.
Investigators are also still looking for the murder weapon in this. So if you have any information, if you know where that could be, you're asked to call Crime Stoppers. You may be eligible for a $1,000 reward. Justin Warmoth, News 6.
Well, we are tracking the tropics tonight. Aaron has now strengthened to a hurricane, our first named hurricane of the season.
Yep.
Meteorologist Jonathan Kaga is joining us now. And really, people up and down the east coast of the United States are paying very close attention to this storm.
In the most part for indirect impact. This is going to stay about 500 to 600 miles away from Florida, so some great news for us. It's going to be, you'll notice it at the beach, though, if you're heading in that direction by Tuesday and Wednesday. Latest, though, 75 miles per hour. This is the big key here. The wind direction shift, or the motion shift out of the west-northwest. It's starting to get a little higher up in latitude, as we call it, and it's going to continue to do that on its way out. I want to show you this, though, over the next couple of days, we are going to watch this thing really start to lift its way back up and into the northeast corner of the Atlantic Ocean, and we're going to watch that over the next couple of days. Again, you can clearly see here in the satellite image that we have the darker browns in there. That just means we're getting the storm a little bit stronger, and it's going to continue to do that.
Yeah, and you are expecting rapid intensification over the weekend. What exactly does that mean?
It's going to be a 24 millibar drop in pressure in 24 hours, and then we'll see. So that's this number right here, that 993 number. That is going to work its way back down really significantly over the next couple of days. And we like when it gets strong fast, when it's away from things. It helps to nudge it further north and then up and out of here like it's going to do over the next couple of days. So again, the only thing that we have to worry about over the next couple of days is going to be the rip currents or the big waves that we see out there. So that's just something that we're going to be dealing with.
And a lot of people will probably be wanting to head to the beach this weekend because it's so hot outside.
That's right. Yeah. Just be careful. The rip current risk is going to start to go up probably about Sunday. You might see some red flags flying. I'm sure the surfers are going to love this, but if you're heading out there, Just be careful.
All right, Jonathan, thank you. Jonathan and the rest of our weather team have tons of content for you. You can get it right at your fingertips. Just download the free News 6 weather app. You can also set breaking alerts to get updates on hurricanes and your forecast. Again, all you have to do is search WKMG in your app store.
Well, right now, President Trump is in Alaska, where the stage is set for a high-stakes meeting. Russian President Vladimir Putin traveling to the U.S. to discuss ending the war in Ukraine. CBS News' Willie James Inman is in Anchorage with the latest.
President Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin greeted each other at a U.S. military base in Alaska Friday ahead of their one-on-one meeting. En route to the summit, President Trump warned of very severe consequences if it does not go well.
It will be very severe. I'm not doing this for my health.
The president said discussions about territory will come up during the high-stakes face-to-face meeting, but stressed it's Ukraine that will make the final decision.
I'm not here to negotiate for Ukraine. I'm here to get them at a table.
For Ukraine and other Western allies, the best-case scenario would be for Putin to agree to a ceasefire today, which would pave the way for more detailed talks about ending the war. European leaders quietly worry that Trump will be swayed by Putin. Russia's air assaults on Ukraine have only grown more intense since Trump took office, even as Putin claims to want peace.
From Putin's perspective, he wins just by having the meeting.
CBS News contributor and former U.S. ambassador to Russia, John Sullivan, has taken part in previous negotiations with Putin.
For President Trump, he's got to guard against making concessions to Putin that are going to alienate our European allies and really do political damage to himself here in the United States.
Ahead of the summit, protesters took to the streets of Anchorage and expressed skepticism that the meeting will go well. Willie James Inman, CBS News, Anchorage, Alaska.
Just 1 month after the opening of Alligator Alcatraz, Governor DeSantis has unveiled a second immigration detention center. This one is dubbed Deportation Depot. The site will be at the closed Baker Correctional Institution near Lake City. The announcement yesterday comes as a legal fight continues over the first facility in the Everglades. A judge has temporarily shut down more construction there after a lawsuit. The new facility will be able to hold more than 1,300 detainees and should be up and running in a couple of weeks. Now, Governor DeSantis says they are no longer considering Camp Blanding in Clay County as a location because the runway there is too small for flights. So what do we know about the Baker Correctional Institute in Sanderson? The facility is 15 minutes down the road from the Lake City Airport. Reporter Ariel Schiller spoke with people who call the area home about their thoughts.
There's not much around the Baker Correctional Institution, but in a few weeks it will become the site of Florida's next immigration detention, processing, and deportation facility. It's not the only facility involved in the project. The Lake City Airport is just 15 minutes down the road on US 90 and will be used for flights to deport detainees. I talked with two people right outside the Lake City Airport, one in favor of the project and one against. A man who wants to remain anonymous is against the project, calling it political theater.
I have a personal, friend of our family that was deported who has never had even a traffic ticket. And, that's very unfortunate because I feel like the public's being misled on what's actually occurring.
I also spoke with Chris, who says he approves of the project.
I mean, it comes to us having to take care of our own, right? And if you're going to come over here and you're going to exploit us, then there's no reason for you to be here.
Talking to another person, he was concerned that maybe people who aren't criminals, I know he has a personal situation where he knows someone who is not a criminal is being deported because of all of this. What are your thoughts on that?
That I can't comment on. I have no comment on that one. So, I mean, that's just how it is.
Governor DeSantis says the Baker County facility is more ready-made and that part of the facilities are not currently being used by state prisoners. He says it will cost $6 million to get it up and running and that those costs will be reimbursed by the federal government. But concerns are still looming.
We'll just see how it goes. I just hope that this is being managed in a manner that makes sense.
That was Ariel Schiller reporting. Still ahead, fundraising without having to pay for a big event.
It's a dream come true for many nonprofits. Coming up, we'll tell you about a special gala that is taking the stress out of fundraising, and it's already having some big results.
Most of Central Florida is quiet this evening. We are watching a couple of downpours and then this rowdy thunderstorm moving out of St. Cloud closer to Point Siena. This will exit into Polk County rather quickly. We'll talk about where it's headed and what's going on for your weekend at about 5:47.
Take a break from those summer reruns and try out the all-new prime time schedule on News 6 Plus. Ginger and I have a take on the day's news. On News 6 tonight, that's at 9. Then go in-depth as Jonathan tracks the tropics and answers your weather questions. That is at 9:30. Then watch the late news an hour earlier. It's all tonight on News 6 Plus.
And you can download our streaming app for free. Just search WKMG in your smart TV's app store. It's also available on Roku, Apple TV, and Fire TV.
Finally, somebody's helping those that really need the help.
Well, every year, local nonprofits spend countless hours and resources trying to fundraise for their organization. But what if there was a way to hold a major fundraising event without all the expenses?
Well, now there is. It's called the Goodness Gala, and it was founded by a local entrepreneur to support local charities. I took a look into how it is already getting results for one local organization.
Oh my God, we were so excited.
Lisa Rydell could not believe what she was seeing. Out of the blue, a request to enter to win a free gala worth tens of thousands of dollars in goods and services.
I slept thinking about it, ate thinking about it, worked thinking about it.
Her nonprofit,
When you hear the beep, let's get a push.
helps people with paralysis recover. Rydell shared their story and need for new equipment, then waited 2 weeks to hear back.
And then you get that email that comes across again that says, congratulations, next step's the winner of the 2025 Goodness Gala.
And she knows how hard it is to raise money. Rydell founded Next Step Orlando 15 years ago after her teenage daughter was a passenger in a car crash.
So my daughter became a quadriplegic, and I didn't understand. I was like, what do you mean she can't sit up, she can't feed herself, and all these other secondary conditions that they cannot do? And so when you leave inpatient hospital and you come back to Florida, we did traditional therapy, OT and PT, but it's just not enough for a spinal cord injury. I was like, who's going to work her whole body? She was athletic. She was a dancer before this. She's young.
We knew immediately, we're like, okay, we want to help them any way we can.
Shawn Hughes founded the Goodness Gala.
My company is Avenue Event Group, and we actually own and operate the Balcony Orlando. So the Balcony Orlando is the venue that's going to be hosting the inaugural Goodness Gala. And we've got a number of different vendors that are committed to helping.
Everything from catering to entertainment and photography, all donated by local businesses, so 100% of the proceeds can benefit the charity.
Really, I was just a frustrated mother who just wanted to help, and it's kind of one of those stories where if you build it, they will come. And they do. They come from all over the country, all over the world, actually, for this facility, because we care here. We want to help them. They can get better. They can recover. We need community support. We need better equipment, newer equipment, because it doesn't last.
So here are the details. The gala will be held on September 20th in downtown Orlando. They're looking for people to buy tickets, donate silent auction items, or become a sponsor. Their goal to raise $150,000. So if you're interested in attending the event or helping out, I've posted more information at clickorlando.com. Matt, they've invited you to the gala.
I love that.
This year's theme is, well, it's the first year, but their theme is Wicked. So you can wear your best green suit.
I might have to buy one of those. Next Step is awesome.
It is amazing. We've worked with that organization for a long time.
Yeah, they're great. All right, let's get you over to meteorologist Jonathan Kagas. How's the evening looking? Is it going to be rumbling and
I don't think
out
so.
there?
I think it's going to be pretty good. We have one lone cell out here tonight, and that's hanging out in Osceola County. We've kind of congealed a couple of cells together. It's rocking tonight west of the Turnpike right now this evening. Harmony, we're nice and clear right now. We had that come through on the west side. Looking just south of St. Cloud around Lake Toho, we did have a ton of lightning around. There are still a few rogue lightning strikes around the lake, so just be mindful of that. The heaviest is likely going to pass just to the east of us in Point Siena. See some light rain, a couple of lightning strikes on the east side of town, but nonetheless, I think the worst of this cell is working its way now into Polk County. Give it another 30-ish minutes, and we're going to be completely done here across most of Central Florida, given just the opportunity for a stray downpour to bubble back up, mainly south and west of I-4. So I think for most of Central Florida, it's going to be a pretty nice and quiet start to your evening. 5, 6 o'clock for you on your Friday night. There you go. I think Future Radar doing a nice job pushing everything back down southwest of Lakeland by the time we get into 7 o'clock this evening. Once we get into tonight and into early tomorrow, I think a nice quiet start. Good morning for yard work before we heat things back up, or if we're hanging out just watching the sunrise on the beach. There's lunchtime for you on Saturday, looking pretty good. I think it's after that we pop a few storms, and then things really congeal along and around I-4 and then push back off to the south and west. Really the same kind of motion that we're dealing with out there, we're seeing out there right now and over the next hour or so until we get rid of these guys. Titusville, we're at 95. Cocoa Beach, good evening. We are at 91. Mico, we're checking in at 90. The heat index still 102 tonight. Blazing in Kissimmee with 91 degrees. And then there's that rain-cooled air from the thunderstorm, that same one that's now slid into Osceola County that moved through Orlando. We are back to 78 degrees. Now here's a look at your forecast.
Your forecast is sponsored by Publix.
Temperatures back to the mid-90s tomorrow. Rain chances up to 60%. First half of the day is looking very nice, and then we'll bubble things up as typical across Central Florida as we move through this summertime pattern. Latest on Hurricane Erin. Again, it's sliding safely to the northwest of the Caribbean, northeast of the Caribbean islands tonight. It's going to continue to lift north gradually over the next couple of days, and then it's going to race on out of here and make an abrupt turn. It's all because of this right here. I wanted to show the steering current again for some of the things you might see out there online saying if there's a westward shift. even if it shifts west, that's okay. The escape route is way, way open for Florida. High pressure overhead right now. That's the same big chunk of high pressure that allowed us to get into the mid to upper 90s over the last couple of days. This is going to retreat back to the west, and this helps to open things up. So you see these lines coming out of the north and west through New York and into Montreal. That's an upper trough, and that's going to help to eat away a little bit at the western side at the other high pressure system that is steering it. By the way, there is the hurricane itself, and you see it go up and out the orange kind of part a little bit and turns gray in the middle, and that is going to be the steering current opening up. Then the Bermuda High builds back in, helps to fling it on out of here. The only deal for us is going to be the beach conditions as we get into Monday and then really Tuesday and Wednesday. I want to show you something here. This is the simulated satellite. This is likely going to be a very big hurricane. You see it right here at the bottom of your screen. Watch it take shape as it gets into Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. This, though, passing safely 500 to 600 miles away from the Florida coastline. But it will be enough again to make things a little rough out there, really starting Sunday into Monday. Again, over the weekend, rip current risks are going to be on the moderate to high side. But then once we get into Monday and Tuesday, that goes high, and then the water, the ocean starts to react to that. Again, beaches about 5 to 8 feet, and the surf. So the waves are going to be pretty big Tuesday into Wednesday. We could have wave heights pushing 10 feet by the time we get to Wednesday, and then those gradually come back down Thursday into Friday. So all this is, again, is a big wave maker on the Atlantic side. Highs in the mid-90s Saturday, Sunday into Monday. Rain chances back to 60%, guys.
Jonathan, thank you. Up next, now that school is back in session, you may have noticed it's hard to get your kids to bed at a reasonable hour.
You might have noticed that. Some tips on getting them back on their school sleeping schedule after the break. Plus, a big hit for SpaceX in California. Why commissioners are blocking plans for expansion.
Coming up on Monday, fixing flooding in one part of Volusia County. What leaders have planned for 2 busy roads and the big vote to get the project underway.
Plus, the latest on Aaron and the impacts we could feel along our coast. We'll see you Monday for News 6 Mornings starting at 6.
As we take a live look at downtown Orlando, you're watching News 6 at 5. We'll be right back. Well, take a look at this video. It shows the moment a driver ran a red light and almost hit a police officer. Investigators say they arrested that man for DUI. It happened at 2 in the morning on Monday on Oak Ridge Road and Hansel Avenue in Belle Isle. Police posted this video on Facebook. You can see it was a very close call there. Fortunately, no one was hurt. Officers say they arrested Ricardo Vargas. One of his breath samples came in, they say, over 3 times the legal limit.
Well, the first week of the new school year is over, but we'll have to do it all again next week.
Are your kids getting to bed early enough to get a good night's sleep? According to the American Academy of Sleep Medicine, preschoolers need up to 13 hours a day. That includes their naps. Children age 6 to 12 should sleep 9 to 12 hours, and teenagers benefit from 8 to 10 hours a night.
It's good to think of like a sleep runway, 60 to 90 minutes before you're hoping to fall asleep. And during that time, you're trying to take the cognitive load off of your mind, right? It would be like if you're driving, you're kind of slowly letting go of the gas pedal.
Other important sleep tips: do not let the kids eat a heavy meal before bedtime and ditch those screens.
Setback for SpaceX. The California Coastal Commission just rejected the company's plan to double the number of rocket launches from Vandenberg Space Force Base. The proposal would have taken launches from about 50 this year to 100 next year, but the commission says there's just not enough information on the project, and they're concerned about the impacts.
When these rockets launch, houses roughly 11 miles away in Lompoc shake. Cabinets and pictures go askew in Carpinteria, roughly 75 miles away, and it's heard as far as Ojai, which is 97 miles away.
Commissioners say they want to work with Vandenberg and SpaceX to reduce impacts, but for now, they're officially opposing increased launches, including some of the bigger Falcon Heavy rockets. Here's a look at what we're working on for News 6 at 6. First, 2 people accused of taking a baby on a burglary spree. A closer look at the moment detectives tracked them down and put them in cuffs. And a new arrest and new charges in connection to a deadly dog attack in Volusia County, what investigators say they knew before an 8-year-old was killed. And here's a live look at downtown Orlando from our Light Orlando Delivering Hope camera. You're watching News 6. We'll be right back.
All right, go ahead, Kyle.
A car surrounded, its occupants arrested. What led up to this takedown and what else was found inside that car?
Aaron has become the first hurricane of the 2025 hurricane season. We'll have the latest stats, the latest track, and what that means for your beach day as we get into next week.
Police thanking 2 children, they say, for reporting a man who was exposing himself here at this playground in Melbourne. I'll give you the details coming up.
We begin with disruptions at several local schools just as the year gets underway. A fake bomb threat forced the evacuation of South Sumter Middle School today. The Volusia Sheriff's Office says a bogus threat that put Mainland High School in a hold yesterday was traced back to a homeschooled student. And Apopka High School was on a secure hold this morning because of a traffic stop near the campus. That traffic stop ended with 5 people in ICE custody. Your community correspondent for Orange County, Mike Valenti, is looking into what happened.
We're still trying to figure out if the 5 people in ICE custody have been charged with any underlying crimes. But state authorities tell us that this all stemmed from a traffic stop near Apopka High School.
Videos taken by a parent of a high school student give us a glimpse into the confusion outside the school Friday morning. Apopka High placed on a secure hold due to what the district called unrelated law enforcement activity near the campus. No one allowed in or out of the school at the time. We later learned from Florida Highway Patrol that a trooper had pulled over a vehicle for running a stop sign. FHP says the driver came to a stop, but 4 passengers inside ran out. Apopka police helped in chasing them down, and FHP says all 5 people were turned over to ICE/Border Patrol.
The vehicle allegedly ran a stop sign. We don't hear what criminal charges, if any of these individuals were facing, other than the fact that they're allegedly now in ICE custody. And because of this, an entire school's operations came to a halt.
Philip Arroyo is a criminal defense attorney and specializes in immigration law. He's critical of what's called the 287G agreement that state and local law enforcement agencies are mandated to sign. The agreement with ICE deputizes those agencies like FHP to perform ICE functions.
We believe that the laws that have been passed in regards to this, of having state actors carry out federal functions, is unconstitutional, but that's something that the appellate courts are going to have to handle. But as of now, obviously FHP has their hands tied. They have to follow the law, whether it's unconstitutional or not.
After FHP told us the 5 people in the vehicle were turned over to ICE/Border Patrol, we reached out to Customs and Border Protection. A spokesperson with that agency said this was an ICE matter. We have yet to hear back from ICE, and it's not clear where those 5 people are being held at this moment. Reporting in Apopka, Mike Valenti, News 6.
Today, Aaron became the first hurricane of the season. The storm remains all the way out in the Atlantic. Not something you really have to worry about. Jonathan, so where is this thing headed?
Yeah, it's going to make a nice big hook and get on out of here. Likely splitting the uprights, as I like to call it, between Bermuda and the east coast of the United States. It'll likely pass 500 to 600 miles safely east of Florida.
That's what we like to see.
Yeah, so the surfers, I'm sure, are going to eat this thing up over the next couple of weeks. If you're heading, or a couple of days, if you're heading out that direction early next week, just be careful because the rip current risk is also going to be super high. The latest on Aaron, again, it is a hurricane tonight. It's going to try to go nuts over the next couple of days. Really, as we go into Sunday, into Monday, likely going to rapidly strengthen into a monster Cat 4 hurricane. Now, with all that said, again, this is not coming here. We're, of course, right there. There's Miami. There is the hurricane. This is going to go up and out rather quickly. That west-northwest motion started last night, and then it's really going to hook on out of here as it gets about north of the Dominican Republic and into north of Haiti, and likely also even miss Bermuda. They are in the cone, but there you go. You see it strengthening quickly. And Monday, getting into a Category 4 storm, 145 miles an hour. Again, everything's okay because this is staying far away. Now, what this will do again, it's going to chew up the beaches a little bit. Big waves, high rip current risk. We're going to talk much more about that. If you have plans early next week at the beach, Matt, coming up at about 6:17.
All right, Jonathan, thank you. Now's a good time to make sure you download that News 6 weather app. Our hurricane app is built in now. It sends personalized weather alerts and gives you access to our radar. Search WKMG in your app store. Developing now, President Trump is meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin in Alaska in a summit to try to figure out a way to end Russia's war with Ukraine. This marks the first time the Russian president has been in the U.S. since 2015. for the United Nations General Assembly in New York. Before landing in Alaska, President Trump warned of severe economic consequences if Russia does not move toward peace. Trump had said if things go well today, a second summit with Ukraine and Russia may happen. Make sure you stay tuned after News 6 at 6. CBS Evening News will have more details coming up at 6:30. New at 6 now, a tactical vehicle takedown. That's how Osceola deputies are describing the moments that they caught up to 2 people accused of breaking into cars at local water parks.
Go ahead, Kyle.
So there is that tactical vehicle takedown. The sheriff's office says this all started in July when people at Island H2O Water Park in Kissimmee reported their cars were broken into. Detectives identified suspects and earlier this week spotted a man trying door handles in the parking lot and getting access to one car. The sheriff's office says its chopper later followed his car to Typhoon Lagoon. That car was tracked until that takedown right in the middle of a busy road. During a sweep of their car after their arrests, detectives found a 2-year-old boy in a car seat. He was not hurt and is now with family. Tonight, Jamaica Spencer, who detectives say acted as a lookout, and Nicholas Rivera are being charged with burglary and child neglect. The sheriff's office says an investigation is pending into whether these two are connected to other burglaries in the area. In Brevard County, a man accused of exposing himself to young kids at a local playground is behind bars tonight, thanks to those very kids who were brave enough to call for help. This happened Wednesday night at Oxford Ridge Playground on Crowtown Road in Melbourne. Your Brevard County community correspondent James Sparvero found out the man's been accused of doing this before.
I got a 43 in progress at the park just south of Sarno and Croton, pants down, touching himself. I got an 11-year-old caller crying on the phone.
An emotionally distraught 11-year-old here at this playground Wednesday calling 911 when Melbourne police say 2 children saw Jose Caraballo doing what the operator described. Now police are thanking those kids for stepping up, being brave, and reporting it. Just how courageous would you say these kids were?
I'd say the kids were amazing. To one, identify that something like this existed and that was wrong, and to, out of fear for their own safety, separate themselves enough to be able to still maintain, a visual of what was going on and to call it in.
And this isn't the first time someone has called Caraballo in. 8 years ago, he was arrested for an exposure allegation at the children's playground at Jimmy Moore Park. In that case, police say he took a plea bargain and he didn't have to register as a sex offender.
Good afternoon. Your full name, please?
Josie Louis O'Neill Caraballo.
Caraballo's new arrest report reads he didn't want to go to jail again. He told police, "Please, just trespass me. I will never come back to this park." And are there concerns there could be previous victims?
We encourage anybody to call us if there was a situation where someone observed this in the past, heaven forbid there was a physical contact at some point, the person just didn't feel comfortable coming forward or courageous enough to come forward.
If he can post his $32,000 bond, a judge ordered Caraballo can't come back to this playground, and he also can't have any contact with the kids. In Melbourne, Brevard County, I'm your community correspondent, James Sparvero, News 6.
In Volusia County, a second woman is facing charges tonight in connection to a dog attack that killed 8-year-old Michael Millett. Earlier this week, the Volusia Sheriff's Office announced one owner would be charged with a misdemeanor in the actual attack. Now, both owners are being charged with tampering with evidence. Your Volusia County community correspondent Molly Reed is at the jail with the latest.
Volusia deputies tell us one of the dog's owners just turned herself in this afternoon. The other was arrested last night. Now, the sheriff tells us both dogs owners were caught deleting their social media pages where they had admitted to their dogs causing problems in the neighborhood before Michael Millett was killed.
She knew when those dogs killed Michael, she knew if the cops got a hold of those messages, was grass.
Deputies say Brandy Hodel and Amanda Franco lived together, each owning one of the 2 dogs that killed 8-year-old Michael Millett back in January. Volusia deputies say the child was mauled by the 2 dogs while riding his bike in a neighborhood near DeLand.
There were other people who notified both Amanda and Brandy on through social media on the public pages that their dogs had been out running at large.
The sheriff says Franco and Hodel wiped and deleted their social media accounts the day after Millette was killed. One neighbor sent detectives screenshots, though, showing a history of the women acknowledging their dogs getting loose off their property and causing problems in the neighborhood, even killing other people's animals.
There's a lot of people in the neighborhood knew what was going on, but because everybody had some kind of a connection and they didn't want to see anybody get in trouble or they didn't want to be considered a snitch, they didn't report it to law enforcement.
The sheriff says under current state law, they would have needed a history of calls and reports to law enforcement and animal services to charge the women for the actual attack.
He knew that the animal charge for Michael's death, it was never going to get above a misdemeanor second degree.
Now, earlier this week, Franco was charged with a second-degree misdemeanor for her dog's role in the attack on Millette. The Millette family did not want to go on camera and speak today, but we're told they at least feel a little bit more relieved now that both owners are facing a felony. I'm your Volusia County Community Correspondent Molly Reed, News 6.
I'm Catherine Silver in Bushnell with a story of kindness. How one of our News 6 viewers got a new roof just in time for hurricane season.
It seems like every time I reached out to you guys, something got moved. I have a lot to be thankful because of Channel 6.
The program and the people that made it possible.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Advent Health, helping the communities we serve to feel whole.
I'm Catherine Silver in Bushnell with a story of kindness. How one of our News 6 viewers got a new roof just in time for hurricane season.
That's Mom's trick. It was an acorn that had sprouted.
Eldridge Mack's mother bought this house in Bushnell that's now his.
A generational investment, a symbol of stability.
So they replaced all the siding.
Yes.
He couldn't wait to show us his brand new roof.
Well, I'm glad we could meet in person finally.
Thank you. Yes, so am I.
You see, we first introduced you to Mac last year when he applied for a grant through the MySafe Florida Home program. And when we followed up again in June.
I have 13 estimates, which have yet to get done.
He had run into the same problem as so many struggling homeowners. You submit paperwork, you wait, you try to find someone to do the work without money to put down.
Once they found out about the MySafe Florida Home program, that they would have to wait on their money, they all just disappeared.
What changed?
Your interview, it was the next day. I got a call.
In parallel to that, the team at MySafe had reached out to us.
Ed Baldwin's company, Profile Gorilla, reached out.
We do a lot of support for the insurance industry and homeowners, just ensuring that the contractors that they want to use are licensed, insured.
And they connected Mac with a roofing company.
And he was just telling me everything he was going through. So I just reached out to the owner, Mr. Curtis at RIG, and I said, hey, here's his story. How do you feel like, extending some generosity to Mr. Mack?
RIG Roofing wasn't just willing to do the work. They were willing to do it at the cost of the $10,000 grant.
A roof that might have cost, $8,000 10 years ago, very likely it's $16,000 today. Reached out to the owner again. He's like, you know what, Gary? We can take that money off.
What about him resonated?
Hearing his story about how he was battling cancer and going through a low point in his life.
You see, when we spoke to Mac earlier this summer, he wasn't just hoping for help. He was also healing from surgery.
My right lung was removed. I had something called non-small cell.
It sounds like a sky was really falling for you at one point, and all of a sudden it seems like the stars aligned.
Every time I reached out to you guys, something got moving.
You could call it timing, call it luck.
Just the dominoes fell in place.
Call it kindness.
It was a blessing. I get a little emotional, but to know that there are honest, good people out there.
This means a lot to you.
Yes.
It's your family.
Yes.
It's your legacy.
Yes.
It's your home.
It's my home.
In Bushnell.
I'm very thankful.
Catherine Silver, News 6.
That place looks great. Good to have a nice, secure roof because it's raining all the time around here.
Always.
The good news is the tropics are staying away from us for now.
That is correct, yeah, and we hope that that's going to be the pattern all year.
Hope so.
Just get on out of here, and that's exactly what Aaron's going to do. Going to continue to update you, of course, on Aaron. No shenanigans expected with the track of that storm, but it's out there, of course, and it is going to play a role if you're heading to the beach early next work week. Again, the radar scanning our skies. Things much quieter than even 20 minutes ago. We still have some lightning around Kissimmee, back down on the other side of the turnpike as well, but by and large, we are quieting things down. I'll turn on the loop for you and show you where things are headed. We do have a couple of thunderstorms just to the southwest of Gainesville on the western side of I-75. We'll watch that for the next couple of hours. We might see a little flare up right around I-75 as the west coast sea breeze gets in on the action. Everything else is dying down tonight. I think you're going to have a nice quiet evening if you're hanging out on the coast tonight. The next couple of hours, again, they're 6, 7 o'clock. You can track the storms, by the way, with our free News 6 weather app. You can also track the tropics. There's a cool interactive tool on there to get the latest modeling and all that stuff if you're into staying up with all of the science and meteorology behind the tropics as well. They're 6 to 7 o'clock for you on your Friday evening. Just a few scattered downpours remaining. Otherwise, I think, again, most of us are going to be on the quiet side. As we get into tomorrow to start your weekend, looking pretty good. Again, early shot for a couple of downpours once we get beyond lunchtime. That's 1 to 2 o'clock. A few more scattered storms, and then we erupt things deeper into the evening. Again, likely a late evening go around as we move towards Saturday, late into the afternoon. Again, that's 8 o'clock tonight with those scattered thunderstorms still staying in the mix over the next couple of hours. There's a live look outside in downtown Orlando. A lot of pretty colors in the sky with the different higher thin clouds from those thunderstorms. Live look with our Light Orlando delivering Hope Sky Cam tonight. Temperatures back to around 80 degrees after that thunderstorm that rolled through the metro. Now here's a look at your forecast.
Sponsored by Strata Air Conditioning and Heating. AC emergency, you ought to call Strata.
Rain chances over the weekend at 60%. Tomorrow, especially late in the day, highs get back to the mid-90s again. We're staying in the mid-90s on Sunday with a few more scattered thunderstorms. A pretty typical afternoon. Hurricane Aaron, the latest, only 75-mile-per-hour storm. the best thing last night, again, we got that WN in front of the West to already start that gradual glide north, most importantly, leaving the Caribbean alone. There will be a few impacts there with some outer banding, but even for them, it's going to be a nice go of things in terms of the storm itself, because we have that nice big hook. It should miss Bermuda as well. Football season's coming, and it's going right through the uprights, right down the middle, just how we like that thing. No new development expected behind Aaron over the next 7 days. There are a couple of waves out there, a couple of tropical waves rolling off of Africa. Keep an eye on those. We'll likely see the hurricane center highlight them again, and we'll likely be doing this thing again and watching the tropics as typical this time of the year as we're starting to roll into the busy time of the hurricane season. Temperatures into the mid-90s over the weekend. Rain chances tomorrow again. On the latter side of the afternoon, 60% shot for storms on Monday, guys.
All right, thank you, Jonathan. Sports Director Jamie Say is here. Jamie, UCF football fans are hoping for a little more of that Scott Frost magic.
Yeah, they sure are. You know, Night Nation bought up all the football season tickets basically this week, and they bought up all the seats at today's countdown to kick off luncheon on campus. I got to play a part in this thing, talk to UCF players. Coming up, Scott Frost's message and the vibe from the Knights.
And take a break from those summer reruns. Try out the all-new primetime schedule on News 6 Plus. Ginger and I have a new take on the news on News 6 at 9. After that, go in depth as we track the tropics, answer your weather questions with meteorologist Jonathan Kegas at 9:30. Then watch the late news at 10 o'clock. It's all tonight on News 6 Plus. Download that streaming app for free. Search WKMG in your smart TV's app store. It's also on Roku, Apple, and Fire.
Welcome back to News 6. Just a heads up, we are waiting on comments from President Donald Trump following his meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin. They are expected to happen within the next 10 minutes. Once they do, we will break into coverage and send you live out to Alaska. In the meantime, let's talk sports. On August 28th, tens of thousands of UCF football fans will pack the Bounce House for their football family reunion. I'm talking about the night's season opener against Jacksonville State. Today, UCF hosted a smaller get-together. About 900 UCF diehards packed Addition Financial Arena for the night's annual kickoff luncheon. They were introduced to the 2025 Knights and reintroduced to head coach Scott Frost, who is starting his second stint in Orlando. There's a mystery about this team because most of the players are new, but Frost told the crowd that success will take three things: gratitude, sacrifice, and hard work. Fans are intrigued. Today's luncheon was sold out, just like football season tickets. I was there and talked to athletic director Terry Mahajer.
We got an incredible fan base and very passionate, and you've seen it, and just we had people here today that was at the very first football game, so they stand by us, and we just got to start having some real consistent success, and I think it'll continue to grow.
When fans go to the Bounce House for the August 28th season opener, they're going to see construction around the stadium. Today, the final beam for the renovated Roth Tower went up. Mahajer told me that construction is on schedule to be finished next year, and UCF will send out wayfinding guidance to fans in advance of the 28th to avoid hassles on game day. All right, the big news in college football, though: the NCAA punishes Michigan football with suspensions and fines for the scouting scandal that occurred under former coach Jim Harbaugh. This man, Connor Stalions, a former Michigan assistant, directed a 3-year effort to steal the signs of Michigan's opponents. The NCAA says Stalions sent interns and others to opponents' games to scout the sidelines and take video of coaching signals. Stalions' network of cheating scouts were called the KGB. Here's the punishment. Current Michigan coach Shawn Moore is suspended for 1 game in 2026. He's already suspended for 2 games this year. Former Wolverines coach Jim Harbaugh slapped with a 10-year show cause that pretty much prevents another school from hiring him during that period. He's coaching the NFL's Chargers now, probably not going back to the college game. Connor Stalions, 8-year show cause. He can't coach in college for that time. And Michigan will pay hefty fines that could eclipse $30 million. However, the Wolverines get to keep all of their wins, including the 2023 National Championship. The defending champion Orlando Pride have a heavyweight fight tomorrow afternoon, and it's on News 6. The Pride visit the Kansas City Current. Kickoff is at 4, and you can watch this match right here on News 6. Kansas City's in first place in the league. The Pride are right behind them in second. It could be a preview of the championship game at season's end. We'll see. But it's on News 6 tomorrow at 4.
Interesting stuff. The Trump-Putin meeting is going to be right on. They're going to be right on top of it for CBS News after this break. We'll also have more coming up 9 o'clock.
Ready to count? All right. 5, 4, 3, 2.
Storm is firing up for part of your weekend. We'll have the timeline for your outdoor plans, plus the latest on Hurricane Erin if you're heading to the beach next week tonight. Cool.
Ready for the count? 5, 4, 3, 2.
We'll be dodging thunderstorms for your weekend. I'll have the timeline so you can dodge those. Oh, that was dumb. Sorry. Dodge twice.
Dodge it.
Dodge twice in 4 seconds. Sorry, guys.
It's like dodgeball. Dodge, dip, dodge, and dodge.
That's right.
All right. 5, 4, 3, 2.
A few thunderstorms out there this weekend. We'll have the timeline so you can get around them tonight.
Hi, I'm Matt Austin. Here's a look at today's top stories. Investigators are looking into a shooting that killed a man at an apartment complex. It happened early Friday on Botts Landing Road in DeLand. It's not far from State Road 44 and US 1792. Now, even though deputies tell us they already arrested the shooting suspect, the sheriff's office is still